What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a market update as well as a trading update for me. What stocks and ETFs am I currently trading? What other stocks am I watching for the rest of this week, as well as for the rest of October? So for those of you guys that are new to my channel, my name is Stas and I make videos dealing with swing trading, day trading, long-term investing, and my personal philosophies and strategies when it comes down to investing and trading in the stock market. So for those of you guys that want to learn more about that, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and join our Discord group chat as well as our Facebook group, and follow me on Instagram. You're going to be getting a ton of content in those three groups, especially the Discord group chat. That's the best way that you can get in contact with me throughout the market and about 200 other people that are in that group chat talking about stocks, trading, strategies, and just networking with each other on a day-to-day basis. So definitely get in there. Again, all of those are linked down below in the description box. So start off this video, guys, let's talk about the three major indexes, starting off with the Dow Jones, then we'll talk about the NASDAQ, then we'll talk about the S&P 500. So today, the biggest index in terms of dollar value, which is the Dow Jones, was down about 1.27% to close off the day, down about $327. So overall today, guys, the markets were red. A lot of stocks ended up selling off. There was a lot of downwards movement in the stock market. So if we look over here to the 1-day, 1-minute chart, you just see the Dow Jones was pretty much downtrending all day today. It was having difficulties breaking above the 180 SMA. We opened up, sold off very quickly, aggressively actually. Then we started to rebound, early on in the day, and then we got rejected by the 180 SMA, sold off again heavily, tried to rebound, got rejected again, sold down, very heavily again, down to about $25,230. And then from there, we were able to, close off the market, slowly pushing up in price. We see, the Dow Jones made a higher low here. Very good way to end off the market, in my personal opinion. And, we're slowly starting to see some upwards push, but we haven't really broken further above the 180 SMA, so tomorrow we very well could open up red once again in terms of the market. So the Dow Jones, guys, like I said, down about 1%, not too crazy of a drop, but again, it's not something that I personally like seeing. So if we look over here to the NASDAQ actually closed about $7 up today. And if we see here on the 180 chart, in terms of the NASDAQ, we obviously saw the massive pullback, and then we had that very nice green day, and now it seems like we're rejecting again on this 50-day SMA. So we're pulling back, and what I would like to see, let me just clear all these drawings very quickly for you guys because it's a lot of sloppiness over here. But what I would like to see is if this NASDAQ composite is able to hold this particular trend that it's on right here. And we can see that dictated by this, trend line that I just drew out here for you guys. And this is just a, the NASDAQ is on a trend of making higher lows. We noticed the low here at about 69.60. The next low is at about 70.70. And now this low that it could possibly be bottoming out at is at about 71.50. And if it's able to hold this level and push up tomorrow, if the markets are green tomorrow, this could benefit the NASDAQ very nicely, and this could end up pushing back up in price. But, overall, guys, not much movement today in terms of the NASDAQ, only up about $5 in price. So now if we look over here to the S&P 500, this one was down about 1% as well, 1.44 to be exact, down about $40.43. And, very similar to the Dow Jones, guys, this one was having difficulties breaking out of the 180 SMA. We noticed the sell-off here early on in the morning, the rebound here, then the rejection, massive sell-off again, rebound, the rejection, massive sell-off again, and now we're noticing that it's slowly recovering to end off the market, from about, what is this, the last 2 hours of the market open. This one slowly recovered, making a higher low here, and then closing the market at another higher low here. So, it's going to be interesting to see if these major indexes are able to, recover tomorrow and push up green, which would obviously send up the stock market very nicely tomorrow. And, hopefully that does happen so we can hop into some swing trades and, some confirmed uptrend patterned, swing trades. Now to just quickly go over over what I personally traded today. Just to quickly go over it, I took a small position in UGAZ towards the end of the day, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. I didn't do a trading update video yesterday because I made that earnings video, and for those of you guys that haven't checked that video out, make sure to go check that out. It's the video before this one. I'm talking about a bunch of different companies that have earnings coming up in the next couple of weeks, and you know, these earnings reports are going to dictate how strong our economy is looking and whether or not the bullish stock market is going to continue to be bullish, right? Because if these companies report very strong earnings, their guidance is looking very good for the next year, right? You know, the next quarter, this is going to be very good for the stock market closing off this year. So make sure to go check out that video, and you know, it's the video before this one. But you know, I was in two different swing trades that I talked about in my previous trading update video. One of those was Boeing, and another one of those was Square. And I ended up closing out both of these positions about, you know, the same time, actually, the next day, the day after that I took these positions. And you know, for those of you guys that don't know, or you didn't watch that update video from about 2 days ago, I got into Boeing on this particular day. We saw the two rebound days. The market was slowly starting to recover on this day. Then I ended up getting into Boeing here at around 363. We shot up all the way to about 370. I held overnight. You know, held through this bounce. I was waiting for this bounce here on the 180 SMA to potentially add more money. But then when we pushed up here back to 368, and then we pushed up here back to 367, I noticed that this pattern that it was forming was a lower high pattern. So I ended up just taking my profits here at about 366-ish, about 365 on Boeing. Very, very small profit on this one, guys. Pretty small profit. Nothing crazy on Boeing, but I ended up closing that position out yesterday, as well as Square. I got into Square on this day, the same day that I got into Boeing, wrote it up, held overnight. Then we saw the massive sell-off in Square, ended up holding through here, and then I ended up just selling off right as we broke above this 50-day SMA. So you know, those two swing trades, the overnight swing trades in terms of Boeing and Square, very, very small profits in those. And today, guys, I didn't really trade much today due to the markets being a little bit funky, right? I was talking about this in the Discord group chat at about noon. I said that, you know, I haven't taken any positions yet, right? And, you know, I talk about all the positions that I take in that group chat. So again, make sure to get in there. The link is down below in the description. But I ended up taking a position in UGAZ later on in the day. And you know, the markets just have been very funky the past 2 days, guys. And you know, I've just been sitting on a bunch of cash recently. And you know, I'm just waiting for the right opportunities in terms of these swing trades. But you know, UGAZ, you know, the natural gas, what's it called? I was about to say the bear ETF. It's not the bear ETF. It's the bull ETF, because when natural gas is going up in price /NG, this particular future, that means UGAZ is going up in price as well. So just to talk about why I ended up taking a position in UGAZ at the end of the day today, if we look over here to the 180 chart, actually let's look back over here to the 20-day 1 hour chart so I can show you guys. Actually, where was that one chart that I was looking at? Ah, here it is. This is a custom chart that I made. It's a 90-day 2 hour chart, and you can, you know, customize all of these in terms of, you know, the lengths, however many you know, candlesticks you want to show, what time frame you want to see. You can customize all of this right here in the chart settings, and I made myself a 90-day 2 hour chart because I wanted one in between the 180 and the 30. So, you know, I was looking on this particular trade, I was looking at the 90-day 2 hour chart, and I noticed that natural gas bounced on the 180 SMA and is slowly starting to curl back up and show some, you know, reversal patterns. And we see that this was happening at about 3 p.m. So if we go over here and look at UGAZ to see how this correlates over to this particular ETF that I hopped in for a small position. And, you know, I always scale into my positions. I talk about this all the time, slowly adding money as your, you know, stock or ETF that you're trading / investing in goes up in price. This is how you can mitigate your risk. For example, you know, if you take a $3,000 position, that's your goal position in a particular stock or an ETF, slowly scaling in with maybe $500 to $750 per trade is a very good way to mitigate your risk, because if the stock ends up going down, as you start to trade it with small increments, this way you won't be losing as much money as if you would say, put $3,000 in, the stock goes down 3-5%, you lose about, what is that, like $150, but if you put $500 in, it goes down about 3%, you just cut your losses, and that's a much smaller loss. So you guys understand what I'm saying here? This is, a very, very major key in terms of swing trading, in my personal opinion. So I pretty much took a position here, guys, as UGAZ was consolidating at this point. So I realized that, okay, we bottomed off here at $83. We popped up here, held above there again at about $83, $84-ish dollars, held there again, and then we started to push up in price towards the end of the market. So I ended up taking a very small position. I am getting in this one a little bit early. I do understand this, right? I am willing to take that risk because, again, I'm scaling into my positions this way. If tomorrow, let's say we open up at like $79, for example, right? I'll just be able to cut my losses with a very minimal loss, right? So, I jumped the gun a little bit on this particular, ETF, but I've talked about this in a bunch of previous videos that UGAZ tends to go up during this time of year. If we look over the charts, guys, historically, in terms of, actually, no, let's just look at natural gas historically. Over the past 3 years, we can see that during this time that we're in, right, between October and, the start of the new year in January, this commodity or this future ends up shooting up in price, a lot, right? So we see here, for example, we see here it was at 285 in 2016 around this time, and it shot up all the way to 390 just in 2 months by December 25th. So the next year comes around, right, at about 1017. October last year we were at about 290-ish, and then by the new year we shot up all the way to 355. So you guys see how bullish that natural gas tends to be during this time of year. So I just see this as a pullback opportunity in terms of UGAZ, right? So I just took a small position, and especially since natural gas is breaking out of this downwards trending pattern now that we see that after hours. So it looks like natural gas is slowly reversing, which is going to be very good for UGAZ in the next couple of days, in my personal opinion. So right now, guys, I'm just actively trading UGAZ, and I do plan on adding more money into this as over the next couple of days and heading into next week, depending on how natural gas is looking tomorrow and on Sunday when the futures markets open and we get to see how the commodity, how the future is actually moving, right? So that's what I'm doing in terms of right now, in terms of my trades. Not too much movement today, guys, just mostly sitting up on my cash and, just taking that small UGAZ position. But for the most part, guys, a lot of stocks have been just selling off. We see Tesla, it got rejected here by the 180 SMA. I was really waiting for Tesla to break out of this 180 SMA before I take a position in it, or before I took a position in it, because we noticed that this has been a resistance in the past. We noticed a resistance point here, here as well. So I wanted it to break out of that resistance point before even considering taking a position. And, it's always important to just wait for the confirmations, guys, because let's say you got in here and then we got rejected here, you just lose money on this big sell-off in Tesla. So, if Tesla is able to hold above this 50 SMA and then eventually break above the EMA, which I do believe is very possible once more money and, once the markets just clear up and we start having, consecutive green days, or we just start pushing up, in price in terms of the overall markets. And, I do believe that's very possible for it to bounce up here and then continue this uptrend pattern that has been on over the past, week, right? So this one does have decent margin for profit, and I am going to set my alert for about $267 because I do see potential in Tesla. Let's set my alert at 268.5 actually, because let's say we break above the EMA, we're able to hold above there. We do have some margin up until 282, which is the previous resistance point. And if we're able to grab that, guys, and sell off before we get up here to the 180 SMA, then buy back in as we break above it, bounce on it, and continue to push up. I believe that's the best way, that, in my personal opinion, that to play Tesla as of now. So some other ones worth looking at are Apple. So we saw another very big sell-off today in Apple, about 2.34%, down about $5.17. And what I would like to see in terms of Apple stock is definitely for it to hold above the 212 support level here and to eventually break out of this downwards trending channel that we've been in over the past couple of weeks. And I talked about this in a previous video. We noticed that Apple is making lower highs. We see the high here at 233, the next high at about 227, and the next high is at about 223 where it got rejected a couple of days ago. So, ideally what I would want to see in terms of Apple before I consider trading this one is for it to break out of here and let's say break above $225-ish, about $224.50 before even considering trading it, because this is a very solid resistance point right here, right? This is the first one. Right here is the second one. Actually, no, I butchered that. Yeah, like right around here, right? You guys see that. So if we're able to first break above here and get into the 224s and then eventually break above 227, I do believe this one will be a nice swing trade, but we have to break above those resistance points first. So okay, now what other ones can we look at? Facebook today got hit pretty hard, down about 3%, down about $4.50. This one pretty much got rejected as well by the 180 SMA, and now we're trading below the 50-day SMA in terms of Facebook. And there's a lot of news around Facebook right now with the data breach, with a bunch of other things that the company is going for. I would have to make a full video about this to cover it. I can't really just cover it very quickly, but read up on Facebook, guys. There's been a bunch of different stuff going around, on with Facebook, which continues to push the stock down in price. So, me personally, Facebook is a great long-term investment, but in terms of swing trading, I would stay away from swing trading Facebook right now because we're not showing any signs of a reversal. We're just, pushing down, making lower lows. And, that's just the trend of Facebook right now, guys. It's just trading down in price. If we look over here at Google, same thing, guys. This one's downtrending, no signs of a reversal in sight. It keeps getting rejected by the simple moving averages, and it keeps pushing down. And this is mostly due to the massive sell-off that we've seen, and obviously everyone should know that by now. But a bunch of these stocks aren't looking too good for swing trades. So right now, guys, I'm thinking until the Dow Jones, until the S&P, until these major indexes have a couple of green days in a row, a couple of days of upwards push. Like, this was a perfect example of this, right? Perfect example. We saw a couple of good days here, a couple of green days pushing up, and now we saw the big sell-off. So what I want to see is a couple more days of, continuous upwards push, and this is going to give me the confidence, the opportunity, to hop into some stocks as swing trades, because right now there's still a bunch of fear in the market. There's still a bunch of doubt. So what I would keep an eye for, or an eye on for tomorrow, guys, is these market ETFs, and I'm going to end the video after this. But we noticed that TVIX goes up in price whenever the markets in whole are going down in price. So I would keep an eye on TVIX as a potential trade tomorrow if the markets continue to sell off. And if the markets, start to push up in price tomorrow, I would definitely be keeping an eye on TQQQ, which does have a nice profit margin of about 10% here, as well as QQQ. These two, TQQQ and QQQ, they go up in price when the markets are going up in price, but if the markets are going down in price tomorrow, UVXY as well as TVIX are going to be going up in price. So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter, and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys are trading. What stocks have you been watching? I really want to know. And, if you guys want to join that Discord group chat as well as the Facebook group, all of those are linked down below in the description box. And please make sure to do your own research when it comes down to investing and trading in the stock market. Do not buy or sell based off of my opinion or anybody else's opinion out there, because that's not how you're going to become a self-sufficient trader and investor over time. And that's the whole entire idea of this channel. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week. Let's make some money today, guys. Peace.